everybody, I'm Tom Vassell, and welcome to Week in Review. Now, you might be like, what is going on? It's not Christmas time yet, but this is the week of the Winter Spectacular. This is the only video that we're playing normally right now. We're about to go live at 9 o'clock with the Winter Spectacular. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about last week and all the videos we put up then. It's kind of short summaries of them, and then we'll have links to the games in the description below. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, Z Garcia here. So last week I did a top 10 video talking about my best of 2022 revisited. So I went back and looked at those, kind of remade my top 10 of the year basically, and compared it to the previous one without looking at it beforehand. So check that video out to see how my thoughts have changed on some of those games. And then I reviewed Age of Wonders Planetfall, which I gave an 8 out of 10 to. This is based on the popular video game. And the interesting thing about this one is it's a card game, but it is incredibly simple, especially based on if you know the source material. This is incredibly straightforward and clean. It is a game in which you are going to be drafting cards, putting those in front of you. They are either resources you are generating, maybe passive or maybe just ones. They are characters you can go to combat with and claim victory points. You have an experience track that continues to go up and lets you go up against bigger and bigger baddies without expending your energy as much, basically. And ultimately, that's it. You play through 7 rounds, just taking a couple of quick actions each. It's very straightforward and clean. I really like it. I just wonder if you're coming into it from the video game and you expect a super thinky, deep, rich sort of experience, if it won't let you down. If you're not worried about that, then I think this is a really solid card game with a neat theme and a very, very quick time frame. So that's Age of Wonders Planetfall, and that's it for me. I'll see you on the next one.
Another week, several more reviews. I took a look at a whole bunch of kids games for Rapidfire Roundup. Make sure to check that out. Basically, I just played a bunch of games with my kids, and I was like, I haven't reviewed a bunch of these games yet, and so I threw that up there. Go Cuckoo was kind of my inspiration for doing the rest of these. That's a new reprint from Devere. Haba had the game before, but I gave that one an 8, so that's kind of like a standout. Really enjoy Go Cuckoo. Silly dexterity game with stacking sticks and eggs with birds. And then also I took a look at Trio with Chris and Mike. This was a super fun game that I really enjoyed. Basically, it's just almost kind of like memory match, but you're memory matching like the highest and lowest cards out of each person's hand and trying to figure out where the cards are. It's almost a throwaway game because it's so simple, but it works so well because it's so simple, because it would work during like a lunch date or like during like a group getting together just waiting for something to happen, or like you're sitting in like a airport lobby or something like that just waiting to like board your flight. You could easily play this game almost anywhere. I also took a look at Apiary, Bees in Space. This was an 8 for me. It was a worker placement game where the bees are gonna go basically into hibernation, and it gave me like a feel of like Alien Frontiers, but I really enjoy the tactical decisions of like trying to figure out what the other players are doing, what tiles they're going after, and then trying to build up your own little hive board, and just the space bees theme. I love the art in this game, or at least the cover art is amazing. And then, yeah, I just really enjoyed Apiary, so an 8 for me.
Hey cool cats and dope dogs, it's Chris time. This week I took a look at 5 games, the first of which was Cathedral of Orleans. This is a family weight cooperative game based on Orleans. I gave it a 6.5. Because I played it with my kid, and she kind of mostly enjoyed it. It's fine. The decisions are, I think, very obvious, and so this feels a little bit closer to a kid's game for me than a family game, but I know some people have enjoyed it. It's a 6.5. It's okay. Next up, Apiary, a 7.5. This is the new Stonemaier game. This is Bees in Space, a clever worker placement game with bumping each other out of spots. I like that part a lot. I find the tiles a little bit too swingy, but it is satisfying as you're building up a really cool beehive. And also it's in space. Trio, I gave a 7.5. This is a very light game, but I think that genuinely this could belong in every house. Every person should own a copy of this game rather than card games like Uno. It's so playable with everybody. It's a little bit of memory. It's a little bit of Go Fish. It's a weird alchemy, but it works so well. You should go watch that review for sure. Redwood, an 8. Redwood is a template-based movement game where you're moving miniatures based on kind of these, you're estimating how far to move and how to take pictures of different animals. So tactile, so satisfying, so unique. Very different from anything else I've ever played. It's an 8. And lastly, Match of the Century. That's an 8.5 from me. This is Paolo Mori doing what he does. Great small box two-player head-to-head games. This one with really good card play, lots of compensation if you don't win a particular bout, but influence points if you do win it, and you're trying to not just win one game, but lots of little games. It's a great two-player head-to-head little game. Match of the Century, go check that out, an 8.5 from me, and that has been Chris Time.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Deliso, and this week I reviewed 3 games. Let's start it off with Apiary, which I rated a 7.5. This is a game about bees in space, which is a pretty out there theme, but the game itself is a worker placement game. It has a couple of neat hooks where you bump workers off of spots, and it allows those workers, bees, to kind of age and they eventually hibernate. It's got some really neat things. It's a very solid Euro design. I do have concerns about the length of the game at higher player counts, and so it's one that I personally will avoid at 4 and 5. Next up, we have Trio, which I rate an 8 out of 10. This small box card game, which I'm hearing some people refer to as Gamers Go Fish. I get it. I think that's a little bit reductionist, although there's not a lot to the game. You're trying to gain trios of numbers, and you're doing this through a memory component, which I normally hate. But for some reason in this game it works. It's so fast, it's so fun, it creates these great little moments around the table. I was very surprised at how much I liked Trio. And then finally, we've got Redwood, which I also rated an 8 out of 10. And this is a game where you are playing as nature photographers, and you're doing it through the use of 2 different templates, one that you use to move around the central board, and another template that represents the lens of the particular camera you're using. And so they'll have different focal lengths and widths and things along those lines. Really interesting game. The only reason that it doesn't get to excellent to me is that I do feel like it's maybe a little bit slight in what you're doing, but what you are doing I like a lot. And so Redwood actually has a chance to grow on me even more than I already do enjoy it. All right, well that's going to do it for me this week. Let's keep it moving.
Hi, I'm Wendy Ye, and today I have 3 games in the review docket. The first one is Cathedrals of Orleans. This is a, well, I think it's a kid's game, and there were some people in the comments that thought it was a family game, and I guess it could be either, sure, why not? But it is for 8+, and so I look at that as still that kind of kid age, because my child's 8 and she's a kid, very clearly. But yeah, it's kind of that family weight game, kids game. I did review it as more of a kids game, and I gave it a 7.5 because I think it has some really good strategy teaching tools for children. Good opportunities to discuss turns beforehand before you make decisions, because it's not one of those that, like once you pull something out of a bag, that's done, right? You know what piece you have. And so you can have a lot of discussion beforehand, talking about what your possible actions you're looking for are. So it's just, I think it's really good opportunities for strategy, as well as even younger kids, I think, can participate because they can build the cathedral. They can, put chips in bags, they can refill stuff. So I think there's opportunities to include younger children, and then to teach the little bit older children some strategy. So I think there's some good stuff going on there. Match of the Century is next. This one I gave an 8, and I'm hesitant with 2-player head-to-head games, especially when you have that kind of tug-of-war element, because oftentimes I feel like I do something, you undo it, I do something, you undo it. But this one's different because you get compensation whenever somebody wins something. And so as you're playing out cards, if their card beats your card, that's okay because I'm still getting something. I'm still getting a reward. It's not points specifically, but instead it is something that will help me win later. So I enjoy that. I think that creates a really cool balance. Also, the cards are multi-use double-sided, so every round you flip your cards over and you get kind of opposite numbers of what you had before. So there's some really cool stuff going on with Match of the Century. Last is Apiary. I also gave this an 8. Bees in space, baby. That's all I wanted in life was bees in space. So in Apiary, it's a worker placement game, and you get to bump out other workers. So there's a lot of positive interaction in that. I think that's enjoyable. I also always enjoy placing out little hexagon-y tiles in front of me and building something like some sort of tableau, or a city or something like that. And so you're building this like space station beehive kind of thing. And I enjoy that process. I think there's some cool things when you get to choose out of those tiles because there's really big instant bonuses, and then there's really cool ongoing powers, and there's storage that you need to be able to store your resources. You can buy more cool stuff. So there's some fun engine building along with all that positive interaction. So there you go. That's what I have for this week. Let's go ahead and see who's next.
This week, I got to take a look at my top 10 games of 2022, revisited that list. That was a lot of fun to do, to look back on my choices, see where they rank this year now, talk about the new games I've played, so really enjoyed taking a look at my top 10 games of 2022 revisited. Also took a look at Age of Wonders Planetfall, came in at 8 on this game. Man, did it surprise me. This is a contender for one of those surprise games of the year for me, where it's like I did not expect to like it as much as I did. I find it to be a very smooth gameplay, simple rules overhead, but it carries a lot of tension to it as well, as you're trying to balance turn order with card power and ultimate payoff of your turn. So Age of Wonders Planetfall was an 8 for me. That's it for this week. Let's keep going.
For me, I did 7 or 8. It depends on your count. You can see the thing of quick game reviews, a video on that. I also went back and looked at my best games of 2022 to see if there's any changes from now till then, because we're talking about the best of 2023 this week, so I thought that'd be interesting. I reviewed a couple games this week, besides those 8 short ones. Redwood, I took a look at that one, a game in which you're taking pictures of animals with templates. I found it interesting and nice, but I feel like I've seen the whole game. So 6 out of 10. But I had 2 games I thought were very excellent. Run, which is a game in which it's a 1 versus 1 game where one person's hiding from the other person, like fugitive style. In fact, it's from Tim Fowers, fugitive based, 8.5. And Match of the Century, about Bobby Fischer's famous Cold War chess match. And it's not really chess, it's a back and forth tug of war style game, which is just superbly done, 8.5. Well, that's it then for Week in Review. Thanks so much for watching. We are about to jump to the Winter Spectacular, starting at 9 a.m. today. I'll see you then. Until then, I'm Tom Basil, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.